You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your identity. And if your identity doesn't match your ambition, you will self-sabotage every single time. I'm Barry Barbell, helping you develop the strength and nutrition habits for a life well lived. Welcome to Fit for Business, where strength becomes leverage and we build a body that builds the business. Before we get into today's topic, I would like for you to like the video if you are interested in hearing more about the subject, and also leave a comment about maybe a goal that you have and how your identity is impacting your ability to reach that goal. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and let's get in. Setting goals is not enough. Everyone has goals. Everyone wants 6-pack abs. They want a 7-figure business. They want to travel the world. They want more freedom. They want more joy. They want more life. But most people never reach their goals, not because the goals themselves are unrealistic, but because they haven't developed an identity strong enough to sustain their goals, to either sustain the effort that it takes to reach the goal or to sustain the effort that it takes to keep that goal in their life. What I'm saying is ultimately is that you don't rise to meet your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. Whatever you believe you're capable of tolerating in your life is your baseline. That's your default. That's where you're going to end up every single time until you change who you think you are. So let's take a minute to discuss what identity actually is. Your identity is not what you want. Your identity is what you believe, is who you believe you are. Most people have stories that they tell themselves consistently throughout their life. It'll be something like, I'm a black man, so I'm athletic. I'm strong, athletic. Or it'll be something like, I'm Asian, so I'm good at math. Or it could be, I'm not consistent. I don't like cleaning my room, so I'm just a messy dude. Or I'm bad at sales. I don't want to get on any sales calls. I'm bad at sales. I don't like talking to people. I've never been athletic. I'm not the type of person to finish things. All of those stories that you tell yourselves are developing your identity. So you can choose to tell yourself stories that either aid you in reaching your goals or hurt you in reaching your goals. You could say something like, I show up. I'm the type of person who does hard things. I keep my promises and I adapt when it's necessary to overcome difficult situations. So your identity determines your defaults. The kind of stories that you tell yourself about yourself are ultimately where you will end up in your life. Because when life gets messy, when things get hard, you're not going to default to your goals. You're not going to say, well, I have this goal, so I'm going to act like this. No, you're going to tell yourself, I'm this type of person, so I do this. It's just instinctual. It's natural. You've ironed out that pathway in your brain already, so it's what your brain is going to default to. You act based on who you believe you are. Now, let's talk about why goals collapse under pressure. So, in life, you're going to experience imperfect moments, right? In business, revenue might drop, or a launch will fail, or a big client that you were depending on leaves. Or in fitness, you might miss a week in the gym. You get sick and you can't train like you normally would, or your motivation fails. You come across these roadblocks in your journey. And in those moments, you don't think, I have a goal. Let me try to live up to the goal that I set for myself. No, you're going to revert back to, this is who I am. The pressure of whatever situation that you're in is going to reveal your identity to you. And if your identity is fragile, then the goal that you have will die. You're not going to be able to reach it, sustain it, or keep it. So how do you build the kind of identity that can help you reach your goals? So even though the stories that you tell yourself influence your identity, they determine your identity. If you're trying to change your identity, you have to do more than just change the stories that you tell yourself. You can't just give yourself positive affirmations and change your identity, because you are conscious and you pay attention to what you do. So you need to do more than just say stuff to yourself. You need to show yourself through actions that this is the kind of person that you are. You need to give yourself a track record of results that you can fall back to and say, this is my identity. So in the gym, that looks like showing up to the gym even on days where you don't feel like it. It means finishing a set even though you're tired and it's hard, it's difficult. It means logging your progress so that you know where you started and you know where you want to go and you know how much is missing. In business, that means publishing content consistently. It means putting your offer in front of people every single day. And it means following through on the commitments that you make to yourself, your partners, your employees, and your clients. You follow through. Every time you act in alignment with the person you want to become, you collect evidence. And that evidence becomes part of your story. And then that story becomes your identity. So your identity is accumulated proof of all the past things that you've done, all the evidence that you have. So if you want to be confident, you first need to become competent. Give yourself a track record so that you have a solid base of evidence for the identity that you want to build. So how do you design an identity that gets you to your goals? Let's say you have a goal of making $10,000 per month. So instead of just telling yourself, I want to make $10,000 per month, you would ask yourself, what kind of person makes $10,000 per month? And what does that person do consistently? And then you need to resolve to do those things consistently until you're making $10,000 a month. So let's say you want to lose 20 pounds of body fat. Ask yourself, what does a person who's physically fit and strong do? And then you do those things consistently until you've lost those 20 pounds of body fat. So instead of thinking, I want 6-pack abs, you tell yourself, I am a person who trains consistently. And then you start training consistently. Instead of saying, I want to be a successful business person, you tell yourself, I am someone who executes on my business every single day. Your identity drives your behavior, and your behavior drives your results. Now, the strongest identities are the ones that can tolerate uncertainty. We talked about uncertainty last week. Check out that episode. I'll have a link for you in the description below. But because life is messy, it's uncertain, there's never a guaranteed outcome in life. You need an identity that can help you adapt to those uncertain situations so that it doesn't collapse under pressure. Instead of saying, I only act when things are certain, you develop an identity by telling yourself, I act when things are unclear. I take action. I continue anyway. That's the kind of identity that will survive any hardship, because you will have the tools that you need to go through any uncertainty, any hardship, and you'll know you'll come out the other side stronger. Bottom line, if you want better results in your life, in your business, or in your fitness, Don't obsess over setting bigger goals and reaching them. You need to upgrade your identity. Become the type of person who trains even when it's inconvenient, who executes even when it's uncomfortable, and who adapts even when things are uncertain. Because in the end, you don't rise to meet your goals, you fall to your identity. So build an identity that can carry you to the life that you want. And if you want a simple framework for building that identity, one day at a time, one win at a time, 1% at a time, that's what the 1% Better Method is all about. I have a 14-day challenge for you. You can check the link in the description and we'll get started. Once again, my name is Barry Barbell, helping you develop strength and nutrition habits for a life well lived. This has been Fit for Business. I hope you guys have a great day. Take care. Peace.